What is going on, everyone? Leon checking in, and today we're at it again with another video. If you're new to the channel, you can see it's called Pixels Cracked, and that's because we talk about Google's Pixel and Pixelbook hardware. However, we try to cover all Google hardware and software with in-depth playlists. As you can tell by the title of this video, this is the second video where we talk about the Pixel 4 XL's battery consumption. If you are interested in watching the first video or other Pixel 4 XL related videos, you can click on the link in the corner of this video to view the Pixel 4 XL playlist, or you can find it in the description below. So getting to the topic of this video, I gotta say battery consumption is not really the most entertaining thing to talk about. But battery consumption on the Pixel 4 has been a huge topic in the tech industry. Now, the Pixel 4, which is the smaller version of the 4 XL, it said that its battery consumption is really bad. I haven't had a chance to experience it because I have the Pixel 4 XL, but you've pretty much heard the same thing about the Pixel 4 XL, that the battery consumption was mediocre at best. So the reason I'm making these videos is because I want to share my experience with anyone who's doubtful so that they can see what I'm getting and hopefully make a better choice, because I feel like in the tech industry, what becomes the popular opinion is what catches on, and people don't really give it a chance. And I've actually been talking to other people through forums or on Instagram or other social media where they say that they're getting really good battery consumption. So in the first video, we used the Pixel 4 XL, essentially how it came out of the box. In that video, we had great battery consumption, but of course we didn't have the advanced features turned on. Now for this video, I tried to turn on all the advanced settings. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. But as you can see, we turned on quick gestures, handheld gestures, and motion sense. We've also turned on adaptive brightness, dark theme, and smooth display. Now it's also important to note that my Google Pixel 4 XL did receive a software update, so battery consumption may have improved. Now, there were a very few times when I did turn on battery saver. I'm not sure if it were for any of these days that are shown in my results. The other important thing to note is I'm also going to include my battery consumption graphs in this video. And that's important because you'll see that my battery consumption goes down consistently and smoothly. We don't have any up spikes, which would indicate that I actually tried to charge the device. Now, the reason I'm mentioning all these things is I don't want people to feel like I misled them in this video, that I may have left out information. I tried to be as detailed as I could so that you're getting a realistic point of view from a user. Hopefully, you can trust that the results that you see here were not tampered with. So now that we covered the basics, it's time to go ahead and get into it. Now, before we go ahead and jump into the screenshots here, it's important to say that I start using my phone between 6:30 and 7 in the morning. So when you see the time on the top of these screenshots here, you can understand how long I was actually using my phone for that day. So here we are with one of the screenshots, and this was probably my worst day. I wanted to include this because I felt this was important. So I took the screenshot at about 3:30 p.m. So based off of that, you can see that we're getting about 8 to 9 hours here, and I have about 15% battery left. Now the thing about a lot of these phones is they do have a battery saver function. That's actually shown on the next line here. You could turn that on, and what that'll do is it'll limit some of the system functions, so you can push out a few more hours on that charge. Now, if we go further to the bottom here, this is going to tell us that a full charge lasts about 15 hours and 30 minutes. And the screen usage since full charge was about 4 hours and 32 minutes. Now, of course, we're not running this completely dry, so we don't know if we're going to be getting 15 hours and 30 minutes. But again, for this day, we were about 8 to 9. And if we turned on battery saver, maybe we would get 10 or 11. So again, this was my worst day. 10 to 11 is probably okay, I would say. We would want to get at least 12 hours. Now, again, we were under the 12 hours. And if we move to the next page here, this is going to show my battery usage. It's going to have a graph here. It's going to show which apps I've been using for the day. It's going to show how long I have been using each app and about how much battery percent each app used. So I would say this was a very labor intensive day. You can see that I've got Maps going here for 3 hours and 35 minutes. And I can only imagine that Maps is going to drain a lot of my battery. Then I've got Google Play Music, that's an hour and 8 minutes. And then I've got some other things, they didn't really use that much time. So perhaps the reason we didn't make it over 12 hours would be because of maps. And if that were the case, I'd probably use maps more than the average person because for my job I do a lot of driving. So I can't really be disappointed with what I'm seeing here on this day, although it was my worst day. Now going from my worst day to my best day, you can see the timestamp here is 7:12 p.m. So we're looking at about 12 hours of usage, and we still have 25% battery left. Now compared to the previous screenshots on that previous day, you can see that we actually have green here. It says apps are running normally. So they're using the typical amount of battery you would expect for those apps. Now, if we go to the bottom here, you're gonna see that a full charge lasts about 16 hours. And screen usage since full charge was more than in the previous screenshots on that other day. We've got 6 hours and 6 minutes. Now, if we go to battery usage for this day, you see we've got 25% left. And the graph goes down pretty consistently again. Maps we used for about 3 hours and 16 minutes. That took about 21% of the battery. Google Play Music, I believe we used that a little bit more for an hour and 50 minutes. We've got some Instagram in there, that's really good to see. So about 25 minutes, that used about 10% of the battery. We've got Outlook, which is email. We've got the phone, which is 50 minutes. We've got Chrome in there. So this is probably a little bit closer to what the average user would use the phone for. So we've got another day here, another set of screenshots. You can see this one was taken at 7:25 p.m. and we've got about 12% battery left. Now that seems really low, but we essentially went about 12 hours on a charge. So this is going to tell us that a full charge lasts about 14 hours. That could be pretty close there. And screen usage since full charge, 6 hours and 2 minutes. Now, if we take a look at what's going on here, I actually used Google Play Music the most this day, 2 hours, 27 minutes. We used 21% of the battery for that app. If we take a look here, we've got Maps next, 2 hours and 16 minutes. I used about 17% of the battery. Pixel Launcher, 46 minutes, about 5% of the battery. We've got Outlook again. We've got Messages on here. That's pretty cool to see. We use that for 32 minutes. That took about 5% battery. And then at the bottom there, we've got Docs. That was used for about 24 minutes. That took about 4% of the battery. So if we take a look at this on my worst day, I got about 9 hours out of the phone, maybe 10. I think that's okay, it's not great. But if we take a look at other days, I got about maybe 12 to 15 hours out of the phone. And for me, I think that's pretty good. Now, what I'm looking for a phone is to at least last 8 hours so I can make it through my work shift. I think most people work between 8 to 10 hours, or maybe you're at school for that amount of time. I think the goal is just to really make it through either a school day or a work day. I also think it's important to be able to make it home as well. So as you can see, we had that 9-hour day, and that could pass, but it's cutting it really close. But most days I was doing between 12 to 15, and I really don't think that's bad. So that is pretty much it for today's video. If you enjoyed it and found it useful, make sure to leave a like. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave those down below and I'll do my best to answer them. Now, there are 3 ways you can support the channel. The first way is by heading on over to my Amazon storefront, and if you buy anything off of my list, it does support the channel. The next way you can support the channel is just by sharing this video with someone who might enjoy it or find it useful. And the last way you can support the channel is just by hitting that subscribe button. Now, when I say like or subscribe, I don't want you to just like and subscribe because I tell you to do so. It's really your way to vote on the channel to decide if you like it or not. And also, when you're liking and subscribing, people who haven't seen the videos yet, who aren't subscribed to the channel, they may see all the likes or maybe all the subscribers, and they may think that this channel is a good channel, it's got good information, it could be useful, and they may click on it and watch some of the videos. So that is pretty much it, and until next time, Leon checking out.